What up, my allies, theys, and gays? Welcome back. Is the Lesbian Lounge. And then today, Kaz Hazel is the only one that's going to be on here, myself, and Holly Hazel will be on the next one. But this is a topic that most of us don't talk about, or we do in a joking manner, but it's a real fucking problem because we stop loving ourselves and we put everybody else first to where we become disconnected. And what we want to do with that moving forward is to become reconnected with ourselves, which is the second R in the framework that we teach in our coaching program, as well as reclaiming our power, that first R. But why are we people that are so much about U-hauling? Why is this a problem in our community? What is it that causes us to do these things and give everything to the relationship? Because if we would give as much effort as we do with our relationship, and to clarify the U-Haul, it's like we go all in on this individual those first 3, 5, 6, 7 months, but really those first 3 where we're moving so fast and people are like, damn, can you slow the fuck down? Like, get to know each other and stop sleeping with each other, that is, and get to know one another. Like, actually have some hard conversations, get to know what that person's all about, still prioritize you. But when we are in this relationship in the beginning, we give everything so much to that. And so, like, if we would give as much effort as we are into that relationship, into our fitness, can you imagine where you would be in your journey with health and fitness? I can tell you from personal experience, I've done this. It's toxic as shit where you don't love what you see in the mirror and you become very disconnected with yourself where you're like, I don't even know this person in the mirror. And I've talked to other lesbians that have done this and they're like, I don't know why I keep doing it. And some of the patterns that we fall into are that fast attachment where we're not going and hanging out with people anymore. We're giving everything to that person where maybe we don't do anything else, that we're all about that, closing people off. This is where we lose our friends. We lose ourselves to how we just to feel wanted. So we're losing because we're giving so much to that where, again, we're not prioritizing our goals that we had been doing before. Our routines are no longer a factor and we're not getting up early if you're a morning person and going to the gym. You are not a person that's taking care of the things that you used to. Maybe you were being better with not going out every Thursday, Friday night, but now you are because that's one of the things that you guys like to do, which Holly and I did at the beginning of our relationship. We went out a lot. And I'm like, how did we have the motherfucking money to survive? But we did U-Haul. That was a successful U-Haul. My first U-Haul, not so successful, which we'll kind of dive into a little bit here. The other patterns that we have, 2 more, is like ignoring the red flags because you're afraid to be alone. That is a huge one. We give so much because we are afraid that person is going to leave us. For example, you say that you need to go to the gym and they make you feel bad about it. So then you're like, oh, well, I'm not going to do it because I don't want them to leave me. That is not healthy. You should still prioritize yourself, still do the things for you. So that way, later on down your relationship, you aren't experiencing the resentment towards this person. You're not lashing out at them. You're not angry at them because you did not prioritize you. But again, we ignore it because we want so badly for that relationship to work. And then we're confusing closeness with identity. Whew, pretty heavy. Okay, so those are some patterns. And if you've U-hauled and it's failed, maybe it's like, have you actually sat down and asked yourself, why do I keep doing this? Why is this a thing in our community? And underneath everything, we don't think that we're worthy enough, right? There has been something in our childhood that has triggered all of this. So for me, for example, I was in a home that was very toxic. I had a stepdad who was an alcoholic, and my mom, she was a good mom in the beginning, and then as I got older, things started to change a little bit to where I'm like, this isn't like healthy. Her calling me a bitch when I was so angry, like I would lash out and things like that at my brother or whatever, but never having a conversation, but just calling me a fucking bitch, like, what's your deal? Hi, I need therapy. I need help. I'm gay. I'm trying to knock on this fucking closet door that I'm in and I don't know how to talk about it. but cool, you'll call me a fucking bitch. So again, like the lack of love is what I'm getting at here. There's something that I was missing. I felt abandoned. I felt like I wasn't seen for who I was. And so when I was growing up, when my stepdad would get fucking plastered, which was quite often because he is an alcoholic, it was like, okay, if I step in front of this individual and tell him to back the fuck off, don't get in my mom's face, don't call me a fucking cunt, don't do this, maybe my mom will thank me and she will love me. So there was that expectation, right? And this expectation is something that we also would put into a relationship. We're expecting something in return because we're wanting to be loved so bad. We are craving that connection, that craving to just be supported and seen for exactly who we are. And like the more and more that I sit back and like talk about it and, I posted on my content, I'm like, man, I never realized it because I never wanted to look myself in the mirror and get a lot more clear with who I was and love myself on a deeper level. And this is why we have built the 3R framework. We're reclaiming, reconnecting, and regaining our power. So don't forget those 3Rs. They're very important. This is how we transform and start breaking out of these patterns, these cycles that have caused us to feel stuck and not love ourselves on a deeper level. I need you to hear me on this. We can stop this and we can break it, but it starts with you knowing your worth. And I could say that so many times, know your worth, but how you begin to do that is you start to work on yourself. So the first thing is you need to start filling your cup. You cannot give to a relationship and love that person if your cup is empty. And, being with Holly now, we focused on that 2-3 years ago where I was like, hey, babe, I need to get into therapy. Like I finally was ready to look myself in the mirror. I was finally ready to actually take action for myself and grow into a better version because I was toxic and I was not a healthy person by any means, coping with alcohol because I did not know how to deal with my shit. It was not taught in my home with my mom and my stepdad. It was brushed under the rug, and that is how things worked in that home. So I don't have the ability to communicate if I was never taught it. And that might have been for you. You were never taught how to show up for you, how to prioritize yourself without feeling that guilt. And that's what it was, is that it began to kind of go into all these relationships. And it's probably for you too. You give so much to that individual and you're like, I expect this. I expect you to love me back. I did that. I went out and got you these things. I went out and bought this for you. Where's the love at? It's not how it works. And what we have to do to break this U-Haul cycle and trust the process and find that right person. And it takes time. In today's world, for the queer community, it is really fucking hard to find the person that really wants to grow. And I was lacking emotional intelligence, as maybe you do too. Maybe a lot of people do struggle with that. Like my sister, holy shit, she is fucking amazing with how she communicates and what she needs and expresses. And she doesn't go for any less. She puts herself first because she loves herself on a deeper level. And I admire that because I'm like, damn, I want to get on that level and continue to grow myself, because the more and more that I've done that, my relationship with Holly has gotten so much stronger, because the relationship before Holly was extremely toxic. And this person would make me feel bad for going. I was like, hey, I need to go work out for getting ready for college. I need to do this. And then they'd be like, well, don't go to Mizzou, like stay here. And toxic, trying to pull me back because they were insecure about themselves. And that was me too. I was insecure. And so like, I thought this person would leave. And again, going back to childhood, it was that fear of abandonment. My mom didn't give me the things, and I did not feel loved or seen. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm gonna do that because I don't want her to leave. I want this. Didn't want to be alone. I never wanted to be alone. And the more and more that you start to understand yourself and why you have U-Hauled and the U-Hauls fail, it's because you didn't fill your cup. Okay, so it's we're trying to fix this individual. We're trying to fix the intimacy, the overgiving, the self-abandonment. Like, it's not about fixing the other person. It's showing up as you so that way they see the real you. And, being married to Holly, coming up on 7 years on Monday the 24th, the more and more that we have loved ourselves, got into therapy, did the hard work, have the conversations. Because I'll tell you, hard conversations is not really easy for either one of us, but we know it's necessary because I don't know what she needs if she doesn't explain it to me, and she doesn't know what I need if I don't talk about it or how I'm feeling. I remember last year in my teaching career, I was coming home and like being so vulnerable. And that was another part to me, guys, is that I was not a vulnerable person because that was not a thing in our home. It was put on this mask, and not like mask lesbian, but put on this mask of like, you're a fucking hard ass and you are okay. And most people do think or have thought I was okay, but I was not. I was struggling so deeply that coping in negative ways as a kid, self-harm. And I look back at that and I'm like, I'm never doing that again. I need to work through my stuff. And when you do that, you can grow those relationships. And Holly has made me a better person. And our relationship has gotten better because I've brought down those walls and allowed her in, and being okay of showing this side that I was afraid for so long. I remember, like, I never really cried in front of my grandma, and we've had a couple conversations recently, and it's really nice when you get to do that. And it's also a little bit scary because you're like, that other piece of, oh my gosh, are you going to love me still if I share this? Are you still going to see me for that person because I put up this image that I'm strong? But now that we actually have communicated, and I'm getting emotional, actually communicated and talk about how I have felt and how she's felt and shared things, it opens up so much more. And again, it's scary. And that's why in relationships, we don't want to have that person leave us. But again, if they do leave you, that's not the right person. My wife, Holly, could have left so many times when I've said this or that, or like my family being fucking crazy. And, my grandma could have been like, no, I want nothing to do with you. But like, she loves me for me. And now she actually sees me because I've expressed it. You need to do the same. I'm like, this is not even just like in your relationships with your partner, but like other friends or people like that. Like, we don't want to talk about it, y'all. The older generations, they don't talk about it. And fuck that, like, talk about it. It's uncomfortable, but the more and more that you shove it down, that's where that anger and resentment comes. And that was me for a long time. And like all these things that I talk about in content and like these podcasts, like, these are my experiences, and I want you to feel empowered to take action on yourself and break those patterns and break those cycles, because you can relearn how to show up for you. And that's the power of this 3R framework: reclaiming, regaining, or reconnecting second, and regaining your power. But it's getting clear of all the things that have really been an issue. So one of the things that has been asked, and I've been going on these tangents of like prioritizing you, filling your cup, and you're probably sitting there like, well, how did you do it? What was the switch? What was the flip? And there's a lot of things that come into it, and I want to kind of break this down a little bit for you to understand. I had a lot growing up, and I did not want to be like my mom. I did not want to be like my stepdad and rely on alcohol to get through my stuff. And I had an arrest in 2020 at my first teaching job, and that was like an eye-opener for me, as well as like Holly calling me out of my shit and being like, dude, if you don't get it together, we're not going to be together. Because I was not a good version. And that was another piece into my teaching career that eventually we will talk about in the Safe Seat sequel, is that because I was going through so much, I was not the best version of myself to kids I coached or taught, because I was going through so much and did not know how to communicate. And then, Holly calling me out to more and more realizing like, I can't keep going down this path, man. Like I don't like how I feel, and I am sick of my own bullshit, and I'm ready to commit to a better version. And so this is where I flip that fucking triangle. And a lot of people are like, well, I want to be a better version. I want a healthier life. And we start with food and we start with workouts and never actually solve the real issues at hand. And that is like the deeper work, ourselves, looking ourselves in the mirror and being proud of who we are. Being queer in this today's society is difficult. I get that. I know what it's like to be rejected, to be discriminated, to not feel supported, like all of the things. And I'm here to tell you, you can absolutely flip your life around, because I have. And so flipping this triangle, what I mean by that is building a strong mindset, building the foundation that sets you up for success. And that is the self-doubt that we need to break, being self-love, being able to transition into this slowly. And that goes to understanding what has happened in your journey that has caused you to get here, where we need to reconnect with ourselves. And there could be so many things, but that's where you have to really be like, you know what is it? What is the problem that I need to work through? And I knew all of my stuff. And then when I talked about it in therapy, I was like, holy crap, this is actually really the issue. It's because I didn't get what I needed as a kid. So now that U-hauling has become a part of the relationships, like giving so much and expecting something in return. But it was starting to build that sense of worth up again. It was rewiring my brain that I am enough. I do deserve to be happy. I do deserve this life. It's the words that you say to yourself that have kept you stuck. So when we are wanting to grow into this person that we want to become, it's our brain knows who you currently are or have been. They're like, oh my gosh, you're stepping into this new person. I don't like it. I don't want you going. Pulls you back. That is where you have to push through. Okay. Just like when you have a tough day, you're like, well, I don't want to go to the gym because fuck it. I'm, it's too cold or it's raining. I don't want to do this. That is where you have to lean in, because those days that you begin to show up when it's the most difficult, that is when you gain that confidence back. And my confidence was not there. My self-worth was not there due to past stuff. Mom calling me a fucking bitch because I was so angry, to the lack of support in education, just so many things, right? And so we have to like reopen those doors and be present. To be able to be present in our relationship, we need to start prioritizing ourselves first. We need to fill that cup and focus on the foundation, the mindset. That is the huge piece. It's not doing more workouts. It's not doing more fucking better meals, but yes, food is going to play into it. And that's where that's the second piece in the triangle of food. The way that you're eating, if you're fucking drinking a shitload, yeah, you're going to be feeling depressed as shit. You're going to be feeling like shit and not confident in your skin. And you get to decide how you want to start choosing you. So filling your cup, I've been able to do it, but the biggest thing was flipping it all upside down and focusing on myself on a deeper level, getting more clarity of why I want to show up. My why has changed, and my why goes a lot deeper now. And now knowing what my why is to help this community that has felt probably alone, felt that they didn't fit in, they were just trying to survive. And like, I'm here to support you. If you're not in the coaching program or want to take that step, we want to help as many hardworking lesbians, allies, to feel seen and heard, because it is tough out there, but it's because no one taught you. So where does all this stuff come from? And like I've said, like for our U-hauling moments and like, why do we do it? It's, again, it's not adulthood. And if you thought it was like your adulthood, you got to go way back. We also look at a couple other things in our like U-Haul moments and all of this stuff. One thing I really do want to be authentic and real about, because people are always like, well, how did you guys do it? Like, have you guys all, like Holly and I, I'm gonna be honest, I was a very jealous person in the beginning because I was not confident in my own skin. People saying certain things like, oh, you're a big lesbian bitch or you're a big faggot. Like, yeah, I am a big lesbian, but why was I so triggered by that? It's because something that happened when I was a kid where I couldn't let it go. So the lack of self-worth. And that, again, that goes into our relationships so heavy. And this is where, when that relationship fails, when we have U-Hauled, and my U-Haul with Holly is successful, it's still going. We still work at it every single day. But when you have had your U-Haul moments, and maybe you've had more than one, and your relationship falls apart, you go to these thought processes of like, you doubt your worth, you shut down where you're not doing anything else. You're like, what the hell is this about? Like, why did this happen again? Is it me? You question everything from that relationship. And then what happens again? We repeat this cycle, throwing in because somebody else comes in and like, maybe they word bomb you or love bomb you. And you're like, oh yeah, this was the person. Give it some time, get to know that person, but also like show who you are, establish some boundaries, have some conversations of like, hey, this is what I do. I'm going to prioritize myself so that way I can be present in our relationship. And as we come to the end on all of the things that I've been talking about, again, you can rewrite your story. I've been able to rewrite my story. I'm still rewriting this story. And I will say, I love where I'm at today and almost being 32 next week of choosing myself. And my wife has not gone running, but it's also because we've been together for 10 years, married 7, but we've worked through so much heavy shit where most people don't want to deal with the hard. And a relationship, y'all, is hard work. It is work. And that's the issue, I feel like, in our community, is that like, we don't want to do hard. We'd rather just have it all be easy and never have to have conversations, apparently. But fuck that. Find somebody that wants to grow with you. Find somebody that challenges you. Find somebody that pushes you. My wife does all of that. There's days where she does piss me off where I'm like, really, Holly? And then I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm going to come back down. And I had somebody listening to the podcast saying, she like puts you in check. Man, I love my wife. I love her because that is the person that has made me better today. She's told me to go to therapy or said like, you need to, but she never pushed me or forced me into that. I needed to be ready. And I appreciate my wife so much on so many levels because we have been through a lot in the teaching career and it was never easy. And we will eventually be talking about that as well. So how we start to reclaim our power, if we've U-Hauled and have struggled with this and want to break this cycle from it continuing again and again, we need to get clear on a couple things. So the first is you need to reclaim your power. And what the reclaiming part is that you need to choose yourself. Choose you every day. That is the only person that is holding you back, that is not letting you step into this version of a better you, is because you haven't chose yourself. So every single day you need to choose yourself. And how you do that is the small, consistent actions. Daily meditation, daily affirmations, daily journaling, visualization, all of these things that are for you in those 5 minutes. That is your time that no one gets to take, y'all. That's you focusing on you. Slow the fuck down. That's my second one. Slow the fuck down. Stop going in it balls deep and like not even actually having conversations. Slow down. Communicate effectively. Instead of saying you this, express this is what I need to feel seen in our relationship. These are my things that I want. Talk about your goals, your visions. Man, my wife and I have been able to accomplish things because we're like, we go after it, but we talk about it. I love that about her because she is fucking driven on some things where, she's been able to get her own business in hair, which she was not ready at the time, 5 years ago. But now that she's so confident in herself, she has stepped into it, and businesswoman is sexy on her. I love it. The other one is owning our power again. Let's not go backwards anymore. Let's stop bending over backwards for people. Know your worth in order to gain that worth and confidence and growth is every single day. There is going to be days that are fucking hard, but those are the days that I need you to lean in. I need you to trust the process. And here is where, when we know that there's going to be a tough situation, let's say with Thanksgiving coming up and you got fucking Joe Schmoe over here who's a dick because he's a big old bigot, you need to set that intention. Instead of saying, well, today's going to be a bad day, I want you to flip the motherfucking script and I want you to say, today's going to be a great fucking day, and show up that way. Get outside and go for a walk. Clear your mind. Do not let that person take away your energy. That person that's in your family that you're going to be seeing at Thanksgiving, do not let them take it from you anymore. The more and more that you are aware with yourself and how your body responds to the things that are going to be happening, you could be more aware. And guess what? You don't have to respond to Joey Schmoey over here. You could just take a deep breath and pay attention so much more to you and how you want to respond. And you know what? You don't have to respond. You could look at them like silence is power. It's not a sign of being scared or anything. It's power. It's you owning that. Because before they've taken things away from you, and they probably know this, but I want you to really be different this holiday. This is something you struggle with, okay? The second R, reconnect with who you truly are, okay? Stop making the decisions from fear and start making them from self-worth. You want to become more confident and walk with that pride and that confidence that everybody's like, damn, I want what she's got. I want what they are doing. How do I get that? It's because they started choosing them every day, the hard days, the days that they said, fuck no, I'm going to walk with pride today. I'm going to show up and I'm going to do the damn thing. It's you versus you. Everybody else there, they're making their decisions, but I need you to choose you because you have reconnected with yourself on a deeper level. You know your worth. The last R is regaining that confidence. The more and more that you show up, if it's in the gym where you've experienced some anxiety and you do it more and more and get those reps in, get that weight in, all of those things, you're like walking with like, hell yeah, I'm feeling good. It's the constant practice of it over and over again. You're showing up unapologetically. You're no longer making excuses for this person that is in your relationship that you've done before in past ones. Now that you're in this new one, if you got a new one, you are showing up for you because that's going to help you be a better version in that relationship. You can be more present. You are no longer making excuses, but you're doing what's best for you. That is so good. Doing what's best for you and not feeling bad about it because now you know your worth. And this is how we break the U-Haul cycle. This is how we build relationships, strong bodies. And it's by choosing yourself first. And what I want to ask you here on this last part, let me just get a little swiggy of water. If this message hit for you today, and this U-Haul thing has been a struggle for somebody that you know, I want you to send them the podcast, tell them they can do hard things, and they can start reclaiming their power today. Okay, that would be my thing that I want to ask of you. If you've been on my podcast and you like this 3R framework that we got and breaking that cycle, share this message because maybe they need to hear it so they can start breaking through.